So I am in Vintage Charm, and I am doing glass. Now, the good news is that I found another picture of the glass, and it's this one. The bad news is I already did one, found out I was out of screen for part of it, and had to chunk it and start over. Anyway, whatever this is, I've decided to go with two different browns. I am with my Crayola pencils again, copper and light brown. Now the reason for doing what's inside the glass first is because as you do the glass, you're going to go right over whatever's inside and act like it's not there. Okay, so my lighter color, the copper, goes in first. Okay, and you're just hitting at all those spots that would appear the closest. Then I'm going to take my darker shade, which is light brown, and I am going to come in and get everything that would be shadowed. Alright, so just take your time. Let's pretend these are sliced almonds. No idea. But so this one is in front of this one. So that's why this one in the back has the shading that it does. Alright. And I come back with the first color. So whatever you're doing, your first color, then your shading, then you're blending, and then I'm going to go back in again and really just set in some of the darker colors there. Alright, this one is going to be mainly dark because it's overshadowed by three different pieces. So just get that in there. Same thing here. Same thing here. This one's basically in front except down here. So I'm going to do that and then get lighter as it comes up. The side, lighter as it comes out. Excuse me. Sorry, something caught in my throat. There we go. And then this side. This one's tucked back behind. This one at the V and up the sides. Both sides on this one, or ends as it appears. This one, kind of that whole section again. Alright, and then I'm going to take the lighter shade and just do some blending of all of it. Back to my darker. This is all going to get colored in. It's going to have some on the edges and right there. Rest of that'll be light. This is all light. This is tucked behind here, and then around here. Yeah, the show that I had at Frito-Lay, big storm. Well, it wasn't a storm with rain, it was wind. Tablecloth flew up on the table, took glass back off with it. A little table I had painted fell over, put a crack through a canvas I'd painted. Just all different kinds of stuff. Employees were not coming down to shop. It was an outdoor in their atrium. So needless to say, not a real good show. Just wasn't. Now, tomorrow we will load up to do the J.J. Pierce High School show with the pace setters, and that one is generally pretty good. Well, it's supposed to storm, I think, tomorrow. Tomorrow is set up, and then the show is actually Saturday and Sunday, and it's supposed to rain Friday and I think Saturday. Hey, we barely got missed by the tornado. It was like 5 miles away, so we're grateful for that. But it just seems like it's been one thing and then another here lately. We're trying to help our daughter move. Her car's in the shop right now. So I got up and took her to work today. Brought her home yesterday, back to her place. And I love being able to do that for her. So it's not meant as a complaint. I love when I can do things for my kiddos. And especially her. She's just so very giving. But just to say we're tired. You know me, I just keep going and going. Alright, so there's that. Coming back with the lighter shade. But I guess I share that just for you that are prayer warriors. Pray for my family. We've just got a lot going on right now. Husband is looking at going back to work after having had a few months off from his last job. He's hoping to go back with something that's a nonprofit, and he's been practicing self-care, which is awesome because men don't do that a lot, and they find their identity in their jobs. So it's kind of good that we were able for him to take the time off and do this. Alright, just finishing this up here. There we go. Now, I would come back, well, why don't I then, right? I am just going to grab this. Nope, that's gray. I don't want gray. I'm going to grab a dark brown. Actually, this says brown, so we'll use it. And I want to come in to these pieces that are in the very most back, because it's going to add just a little bit more depth to the picture. Okay? And I can still add more later on this, but you get the idea with that. Now, for the jar itself. You can do jars in grays. You can do jars in blues. You can do them in pink, teal. It doesn't matter. You can actually pick whatever you want. So what I've decided on this particular one is I'm going to pull the blues. If I were doing the grays, I have Timberwolf and gray. But I am going to go with Absolute Zero and Cerulean. And from past experience, I know that the lead does not match the barrel color. Okay? So I know this is my lightest, and I'm going to come in here and just come all the way down the side here. This is going to be blue glass. So it's going to show up a little darker all around the edges. This is what I'm going to use those two grays for. I'm going to make this one of those kind that has the metal. That's going to be metal. And then this piece here will be a metal, and then the top and all of this is glass. It's just what I've picked to do. So, that's the thing with glass. Once you get doing it, get going on it, you can really kind of make up your own of what you want to do. In fact, I'm going to change my mind and make this blue also, instead of making this metal. So I'm getting the light blue on all over. And this is a great blue for glass. This absolute zero color with Crayola, just because it is so very light. It's also great for oceans. Alright, so I've got all that in. Now what I would do is come back with my other blue and start adding a little bit of depth. So I'm going to come here, and you can see how bright that is. So I'm actually going to work back on my pencil so I don't have quite as much control, and so that I have to go lighter touch. So I'm going to do there, because this is where the actual light source would not be hitting it as much, because this is down between the two glass jars. Okay, so that would be darker, lighter as it comes up. So now I can come down here and really bear down and get that darker, and then lighten as I blend. Darker, lighten as I blend. Do the same thing when I'm painting, except I have a lot of water in my brush and I do some floating. So there might be a little bit of dark back in there, a little bit here, a little bit here. I'm looking for the areas that are tucked underneath. So like here. And then I've got to make it get light pretty quick. Here, just barely, and barely. Okay? Then now when I come up in here, I'm going to go underneath the lip. So there's a lip here where this bulges out. So I'm going to go right here underneath, and I've got to make that fade out very quickly. And there would be a shadow down here. So just ever so slightly, being careful. You don't want to get it too dark. You want it to look very natural. Here's another lip, so there would be color under there. There's a ridge there. And then I can also come in just at the edges here, because this whole thing sticks out a little, so that tells me I can come under here some. There we go. I hope this is helpful to the person that actually asked for glass. You would do a wine glass the same way. Just watch, where it comes in and out, and where it goes in. If it's underneath something else, it's going to be darker. And if it's not, it sticks out, then it's going to be a little lighter. Now, I want some sort of color up here. So I've got to decide, do I want shadows? I've got shadows coming down, and then I want shadows either on the right or the left. I'm going to make a shadow under here. So I'm going to go down the right hand side, and then I'm just going to fade that. Just fade it. And that shadow is from this thing. Alright? And then anytime you want something to look a little more rounded, put a little bit more color closer to that outside edge. And if yours doesn't blend really well, go back and use the lighter shade and get in there and do some blending. And again, this absolute zero is a really light blue and really good for this. Now another thing when you're doing glass, you can come in with an eraser. And here's one I've got. There's a pretty good edge right there on this eraser. So I am going to make shine lines. Okay, I'm just going to take the eraser and I'm going to go back and forth in the same spot. I'm going to do it like 3 different times. And I'm not trying to keep them even. I'm trying to keep them parallel to each other, but not necessarily even. Then I'm going to come up here and take some off right there. And then I'm going to blow that off. I guess I'm going to brush it. I don't like to brush because sometimes it smears. But that should give the illusion that there's a shine there. Now I'm going to come in with the darker blue that I used, and I'm going to go through the middle of that. And that should leave the illusion that it's shiny. Alright, then to do the metal, I'm going to put the darker part underneath right here. It's under the one coming this way. I'm going to go ahead and darken that. Darken what's coming from underneath. I can darken there just a smidge. Darken what comes here and here. And then the rest of it will be light. And if you remember, the darker was gray, the lighter is my Timberwolf. Just blending all that. And there is Glass 101. Alright, so hopefully that looks like glass for you. Now this line is a little crooked from this one. I'm really not that concerned about it right now. So anyway, I hope that helps. Yeah, it's just going at it and having your light source. If it comes down, you're going to be lighter here and darker where things are overhanging other things. See, like right here, that's a little darker where my thumb overhangs the other hand. Alright, so good luck, have fun, and hope to see you on the next one. Bye.